What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here, PackersNews.com, live on Facebook late in the day on Thursday. No news on Mo Wilkerson, which I know will be overwhelmingly the questions I get asked. But I did wait as long as I could, but nothing coming out of 1265 Lombardi, at least as I can tell, for the remainder of the day. So, thought I'd jump on. James, hello. Jerry, hello. Thank you for joining us. So I thought I'd jump on, see if you all have any questions, see what you want to talk about. I did just drop my latest podcast. Make sure you check that out at PackersNews.com. Latest edition of Nagler's Never Right, up for your listening pleasure. Albuquerque, Jared, what's up? Thanks for checking in. Tony, hello. How are you? Sean, hello. A lot of fine folks checking in here early on in the chat. What did Mo eat last night at dinner? I told you there are no Wilkerson updates. No, I don't know. No idea. I don't even know where they went. Running late. I know I'm late today. I'm sorry. I was waiting to see if I could find out something about Mo Wilkerson, but as near as I can tell, nothing happening tonight. Jerry Richard Sherman. Well, he is going to be released. I can't remember if he's been officially released. There's been so many updates now, but it does look like he has not found a... They have not found a trading partner. He will be released. I would be absolutely shocked if the Packers went after a 30-year-old coming off 2 Achilles surgeries, probably wants to get paid a decent amount. I can't imagine that happening in Green Bay. How much are the Pack currently under the cap? Roughly $19 million. They were given $4 million in credits that we can't quite figure out what that's accounted from, but that is kind of the missing piece. I know 15 was the number we had talked about yesterday. The NFLPA put out an update this afternoon listing the Packers with a little over $19 million due to some cap accounting, basically, credit that was not accounted for. It has nothing to do with the Martellus Bennett situation. So, yeah, they've got a little over $19 million. And another note that I was texting back and forth with Tom Silverstein about a little while ago. A lot of people there have a lot of other sites out there that track the salary cap, and they look at player pools and the rookie pool. And I know a lot of numbers have been kind of bandied about. I've seen everything from 7 to 8 to 9 million needed to sign the rookies. In actual fact, it's roughly between 3 and 4 million. So, they have some space. They have some room to maneuver. I still think they'll probably create a little bit more room in the guise of extensions and or restructurings, but they've got some space. Is Maurice Hurst, the defensive tackle from Michigan, for those of you who don't know, an option at 14 if his medical checks out? I would think so. I've talked to people who see him as a second rounder. I've talked to people who see him as a top 10 pick because of his athleticism. Obviously, he didn't work out at the combine because of the heart irregularity that was discovered. But I tell you what, his tape is really exciting. That is a big man who can move. He is lightning quick, and a guy who could cause some real disruption up front. I think a lot of it obviously will depend on the medical, and got to imagine hopefully he's cleared and able to participate in Michigan's Pro Day because, I think he's a very, very exciting young prospect. Sam Shields will be out within a month of the regular season. You can't say that for sure. You have no idea. We'll see. The Rams, obviously announced it a little while ago that they have signed Sam Shields, former corner of the Green Bay Packers. Man, I wish him the best. I hope he has a great tenure out there in LA. The man truly knows the risks. Obviously, is ready to continue his playing career, and the Rams are ready to give him that shot. Now, one thing to remember: I know he's been signed, and it's great for him. He's going on to his next chapter, etc. But there's nothing saying that he's going to be on the final roster, in the final 53, when they kick off Week 1. So, it's a good first step for him in his attempt to return to the field, but a lot left to play out there. Eagles are being aggressive, no complacency after the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's swinging that trade for Michael Bennett. Gotta love their third down package now, and they can kick him inside and have some really good edge rushers opposite him, and as well as a running mate on the interior. Yeah, no, they're not sitting on the laurels, and that kind of jives with how Howie Roseman operated when he took the reins back from Chip Kelly. That first week, I remember he signed 2 or 3 guys who were already on the team to relatively big extensions, knowing, identifying his core and trying to extend them out and get his group going. He's been very aggressive, and obviously it landed him a Super Bowl trophy there last month, 2 months ago, and he doesn't want to be complacent. Dante Moncrief's still worth a look. Don, I think so. It really depends on the financials. I think there'll be a lot of teams throwing some money at him. I would see the Baltimore Ravens are in desperate need of pass catchers. I could see them offering him a whole lot of money. But, I think Dante Moncrief would help the Packers. There's no doubt about that. What do you think about the tight end from South Dakota State? Dallas Goedert is a freak. I think he is going to be a very good tight end in the NFL. I think the Packers could obviously use him. But it's always that thing of, coming up into the NFL, rookie tight ends rarely make a big impact their rookie year. And I don't think that would be any different in this case. I think the Packers have to draft a tight end, but they also have to find somebody in free agency. Bridgewater to the Packers. Dan, I guess it's a possibility. I would tend to think he's probably looking for a spot where he could at least compete for a starting job, whether that's maybe in Minnesota again or someplace else. And obviously he's not going to get that in Green Bay. So maybe if he finds all other avenues closed to him, he'll kind of go down that road, maybe explore something in Green Bay, but I tend to doubt it. Jordy Nelson traded, yes or no? I can't imagine a team giving up any kind of draft capital to go get a guy who's a year or 2 away from retiring, who has a pretty substantial cap hit. I just don't see it. What about bringing Peppers back for the veteran minimum? I'm pretty sure he wants to. I saw that he wants to play again one more year. I'm pretty sure he wants to be in North Carolina. That's the whole reason he got back down there last year, is because he wanted to finish his career with the Panthers, where he started. 3 fifth-rounders, can we trade some? Yeah, they can trade all of them if they want. The compensatory picks are tradable now as of last year. Raji for president. Best receiver not taken in the top 10. Should we take him at 14? I don't know, Nick. I haven't really seen a prospect yet that would probably be worthy of a top 15 pick. I got to be honest, even Ridley, who is kind of the Alabama receiver, who has been touted as the number 1 wide receiver in this class, I'm not wild about even the idea of taking him at 14. I think the Packers can help themselves, and they can do so past that first round. I mean, you look at Ted Thompson's track record. He found receiver after receiver after receiver in the 2nd and 3rd rounds. I think Brian Gutekunst can do the same thing. I don't think there's any reason to reach there, unless there's somebody, that they have graded as some, off-the-chart prospect. If they've got a guy who they consider a top 5 pick, that's how they've graded him, and he falls to 14, then I'm pretty sure they'll pull the trigger, but I don't see anybody in this class like that. What would you give for Earl Thomas? Whew, that's a good question. Probably I would give probably a 2nd next year and a 4th this year. I think there are plenty of other teams that are going to try and push past that, but that's about where I'd be comfortable. Martavis Bryant, should we try to get him? No. He's one screw up away from a year-long suspension. I don't think you want to give up a player or capital for something like that. I mean, he's a good receiver. He's got skills, obviously. Speed being, the number 1, but I don't see giving up too much for a guy like that. Let's see, Des Bryant coming to Green Bay. I don't see that, Jeremy, but you never know. Will Clinton Dix have a turnaround year? Good question, Michael. I tend to think so. I tend to think Mike Pettin will put him in a good position in a better position to be successful. I think he was doing a lot of thinking last year, the last couple of years, really. I think if Pettine can get him more suited to a read and react kind of thing, obviously he's a center fielder in a way, and a lot of what he's been asked to do in Green Bay. He's not really a box safety. He's much more of a free safety, and at some point he's got to start making plays, and you got to hope that Mike Pettine is the key as far as turning him on in that regard. We need someone to stretch the field. Yes and no, Josh. I mean, I think they definitely need speed added to their offense, whether that's at wide receiver, at running back, tight end, what have you. But you remember the Patriots won a Super Bowl without a bona fide deep threat, 2 years ago. Teams, and that's why they went out and traded for Cooks and then didn't win a Super Bowl. You can win and you can score points in a lot of different ways, especially when you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. Now, would it help? Yes, immensely. Would it open things up for other guys? Yeah, absolutely. But they don't need that to forge a championship offense. It can be done without it. If the Packers sign Wilkerson, would the Packers still consider Vita Vea at 14? I think so. Vita Vea is a defensive tackle from Washington. I think so. He's incredibly talented. I think 14 is probably that'd be a value pick for me. And if you sign Wilkerson, that's not a long-term solution for anything. You may see what you're getting out of him. He may obviously contribute, but that first-round selection is usually you want to talk about long-term planning. If you're looking at the future, Mike Daniels will be coming up at the end of his contract. Kenny Clark will be coming up at the end of his rookie contract after a year. So yeah, you're kind of planning out. And if that is your bet, if that's your highest-rated player on your board, yeah, I don't see them taking him off just because they signed Mo Wilkerson. Now, I tend to think they're going to look other places because they do have some pressing needs. But yeah, it wouldn't take him off my board at all. Does Green Bay keep 6 or 7 receivers this year? Well, let's see what happens in camp. We're awfully early there. We don't even know what's going to happen in the draft yet. But I could see them keeping 6. 7 seems a bit much. I think some of that will depend on, do they bring back Janis? Clearly that would be in a special teams role. But he'd still be a receiver and he would still count. What does D'Angelo Yancey do? Does he crack the rotation? Geronimo Allison, what happens there? Does he take another step, or does he plateau? I mean, there are a lot of questions to be answered there that have to be played out through the offseason and through camp specifically before we even begin to get there. PFF ranked Arden Key higher than Chubb. Cool. Nothing wrong with that. And that's their opinion. That's how they've graded it out. I've talked to NFL people who love Key, and I've talked to NFL people who are absolutely frightened, scared to death of Key. So, the people have varying, ideas and form different judgments on these prospects, and that's what makes it so great. That's why the draft is so huge, because there's so many different opinions, and, there's no ultimate right answer. You just have to let it play out. The thing is, PFF has Baker Mayfield as the number 1 quarterback. I tend to agree with that assessment, but I get why people don't agree. I get why other people don't agree. I mean, it's all part of the game. I heard BJ Raji is your second cousin. I'm going to deny that one, Aaron. Draft and develop in Ted we trust. Well, Ted's not in charge anymore. That would be Brian Gutekunst, but I tend to think he will still lean towards draft and develop. I think he'll just augment his roster with free agent help. Let me see here. Get me some Packers tickets. Tommy, get my friends and family some Packers tickets first. If Wilkerson leaves Green Bay without a contract, he's gone. I tend to agree with that assessment, actually. I mean, I can't say for sure, but, I don't know. JT Barrett or Malik Jefferson in the second round. Woo, second round. Whew, easy on that JT Barrett in the second round talk. I'd definitely probably say Malik Jefferson, but that's just me. In all seriousness, what is Raji up to these days? I have no idea, actually. I know Ryan Wood talked to him last year when the rumblings were, or was that 2 years ago, when the rumblings were out there about he might make a return, but man, I have no idea. I assume he's out somewhere out here on the East Coast. I know he's from the Boston area, right? Or the New York area, somewhere around there. Why no cheerleaders? For the Packers? Well, they have the St. Norbert cheerleaders. They're great. Devon House or Quentin Rollins? Can I punt? Any chance we get the tight end from Penn State? Sure, Ron. It all depends on where they value him and where Gesicki ends up going. And if that's second or third round, if the Packers have that grade on him and he's there when they're selecting, sure. Tom Silverstein just tweeted out Mo left Green Bay. Well, there you go. Any news on Balaga? I saw Balaga was on the radio with my good friend Jason Wilde earlier today, and Balaga said that he and his reps have not been. Sorry, guys. He and his reps have not been contacted about potential, contract questions. So, sure sounds like he's gonna stick around, at least for now. Now, remember, Brian Gutekunst left open every possibility as far as contract restructures, cutting people, etc. So just because he's safe right now doesn't mean he will be down the road. But right now, Mike McCarthy indicated when we talked to him that all the signs were positive on his recovery. And now we've talked about, his representatives not being talked to by the Packers. So sure sounds like right now he's in their plans. Can we use Carriage or Ripkowski as an inline blocker in some sets? If you mean a tight end? Whew, I suppose. I mean, usually they do the cross-training the other way. They teach tight ends the fullback's position. I suppose they could. I would, you know what? I gotta be honest, I would not hesitate to put Carriage out there because, boy, that guy can catch. He had 2 or 3 incredible catches in camp last year. And I've said it here a couple times. I think he was pushing Ripkowski prior to his injury. But I guess they could try it, but I doubt. I don't think we'll see that. When are we cutting Hundley? Well, Sean, I think they'll bring him back because he's cheap and they know he knows the offense. It's just a question of how he does when giving competition. But I tend to think if they bring in the right people, there's a chance they cut him. Do you think we'll get the first Fire Gutekunst hashtag if they don't sign Wilkerson? Maybe. Do you think we'll trade anyone? I don't see that. I don't see them trading anybody as far as, guys they have on the team. I mean, I say that and you never know, obviously things can come out of left field. They do in the NFL all the time, but they haven't seemed to in Green Bay. Now that said, there's a new GM in place, so you can never really say yes or no because you don't have a track record to go off of. But I tend to doubt it. Sam Shields to the Rams. That's right, Manuel. We talked about it a little bit before. Take 1 or 2 more here. Rashi's to the slot. Nice, Chet. I like it. Not getting Wilkerson. Some team will throw money at him. Not necessarily. Remember, back in the day, Ryan Pickett came in, took a look around, didn't sign, visited with the Bills, I think it was, and maybe one other team, and then he came back and signed. You never know. Just because they're gone doesn't mean they're gone. But to quote Luke Skywalker, no one's ever really gone. Anyway, but yeah, just because he's gone doesn't mean he's, they've lost out. Now that said, could a team throw big money at him? Sure. But hey, all the negative stuff we've heard about Mo Wilkerson from Jets fans and writers the last 48 hours still stands. How he quit on the team, was really ineffective the last year. Hell, he got suspended for the last part of the season. So, you know, all that stuff is still in play, and there are other teams that will be looking at him aren't exactly going to be rushing out to throw big money at that player. But, you know, could it happen? Absolutely. Wherever he goes next, he could walk in the door, hit it off, love it, and they could say, hey, here's, you know, a ton of money, we've got a ton of cap space, and we really want you. Yes, that could absolutely happen. Ryan Pickett was a beast. Yes, Don. Yes, he was. And that's where I'm going to leave it. All right, thanks a lot, everyone. Sorry if I didn't get to your question. They do go very fast, but I'll be back tomorrow. In the meantime, make sure you're checking PackersNews.com for all the latest. In the meantime, have a great night.